For a lot of people, the holiday season is when people try really hard to kill themselves with their fork and their spoon. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can actually eat healthy stuff that has that same holiday atmosphere, the same holiday traditional type food, without it being harmful. What I'm going to show you today is kind of a stuffing recipe that you don't want to stuff it into a dead animal. You want to just eat it as it is, the way I'm going to show you today. And it's easy. One thing you need to do ahead of time is to bake a whole grain loaf of bread. If you don't already know how to do that, we have our delicious olive bread recipe. That's what this one is. And this is a really good bread. And it has no free fats like most breads that you buy in the store would have. And it is a whole grain, so you get all the nutrition that you need. For this recipe, you want 6 cups of that. And I'm going to slice. I have some of it already sliced. You want to slice it and then cut it into cubes. This recipe takes 6 cups of bread, cubed bread, and I have almost 3 cups already cut. Now when you go visiting, if you go someplace to eat with family, this is something you can make and take with you, so that as a whole food vegan, someone that wants to preserve their health, you'll have something to eat besides the peas and carrots or something like that. And you might even be able to convince the rest of your family that being healthy is not as difficult as they might think. A lot of people think that when you become a vegan, you have to just subsist on weird green drinks or eat salads all day with nothing on it. But in reality, a whole food vegan diet can be delicious. Now that is a little bit more than 6 cups, but I love this recipe so much I'm going to, I want it to be a little bit big. The next thing we need is about half an onion. And the way I cut the onion is really fast, and it goes so quickly it doesn't have an opportunity to make you cry, usually. I make no guarantees, but I've had good success with it. Now you cut that end off and slice one direction like this. Then you take the whole thing, turn it, and then slice this way. If tearing is still a problem, one thing you can do is, before you start cutting into it, you rinse it a little bit with some cold water under the faucet, and that helps. Now, I've got all that. I've got my cubed bread. The next step is to get your casserole. You don't want to put anything on the casserole. You just want to place it in there. And then we're going to put our seasoning. And the seasoning consists of 2 tablespoons of parsley, dried parsley. This is a teaspoon of sage. If you like any of these ingredients in larger quantities, you can do it in larger quantities. This is about a teaspoon of onion powder. This is savory. This is about 2/3 of a cup of savory.
Cup?
2/3. Thank you, John. About 2/3 of a teaspoon of savory. This is basil. 2/3 of a teaspoon of basil. And thyme. This is ground thyme, and it's about half a teaspoon of thyme. Then this is our chicken style seasoning mix. You want to, the way we make it, it doesn't have any animal products in it, and it is a whole food. It's nutritious and it tastes very good. And what you want to do with that is put it in your water and stir that together. And if you want a little bit more saltiness, I kind of feel like this recipe needs a little bit more salt. So what I did is I added about half a teaspoon more salt to this batch of the chicken style seasoning. If you can't find our recipe, let me know and I'll get it to you. Now, I just now realized one thing I forgot is my celery. So hold on a minute and I'll get the celery. So here's our celery, and this recipe calls for about half a cup of celery. If you like it, I'm one of those kind of people that does. I like plenty of celery in this recipe. You want to cut it up into little chunks. And half a cup of raw walnuts, and you want to break them up in, if they're halves, you want to break them up into little pieces. So you want to get walnut pieces, like about those, that size, those there. And it's easy to just break them up with your fingers. So we've got about half a cup of the walnuts. Then you want to just stir them up so that the seasoning gets on all the bread, and the onions and celery get mixed in. Break up the little pieces of onion. There, that looks good. Then you take your liquid, stir it up to make sure all the seasoning isn't all sitting on the bottom, and then pour it over your bread. And this will bake for about, let's see, 45 minutes to an hour in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And when it comes out, it'll be all ready. You put a lid on it. This recipe is not in our current cookbook right now, so those of you that already have a copy of it, you won't find this in the book. So we're going to be adding it, and it'll be in the newer version of the cookbook. So if you want the recipe, just send us an email and let us know that you want a copy of it, and we'll also be putting the recipe in the description under this video.
I can't wait to taste it. It smells so good. Smells like holidays. One of my favorite dishes that Janine makes. Having it with some salad and a new invention Janine's trying out. Red cabbage, not coleslaw, but sauerkraut made with lemon. Great. Tastes like it came out of a turkey.